Hello everyone, welcome to Box Office Receipts. I'm your host Tyler Callahan. For the news in this episode, we got more on Paramount, streaming updates, Quentin Tarantino shockingly not moving forward with his next film, and the latest box office numbers. Let's start with the domestic top 5. Opening first place at the domestic box office is Civil War with 25.7 million. In second place was Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire with 15.4 million for a total of 157.9 million. Third place was Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire with 5.8 million for a total now of $96.9 million. Kung Fu Panda 4 came in fourth place with 5.5 million for a total of 173.6 million. And in fifth place was Dune Part 2 with 4.3 million for a total of 272.1 million. A24 had a great weekend thanks to Civil War. The film, directed by Alex Garland, was a bit of a gamble as it was the biggest film the studio has produced, costing around $50 million, and obviously marketing costs on top of it. Well, as long as it can have a good run now at the box office, it will pay off. At the very least, the film got A24 its biggest opening weekend ever, and it's also the biggest opening weekend for Alex Garland as well. Godzilla x Kong is still holding steady, but it might just fall short of 200 million. 180 million is at least a lock though, and for Sony, Ghostbusters will at least pass 100 million domestically. In China, The Boy and the Heron stayed in first place with another 12.4 million for a total of $92.1 million. In second place was Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire with 10.5 million for a total of 108.4 million. Third place was Kung Fu Panda 4 with another 2.4 million for a total of 44.8 million. Fourth place was Dwelling by the West Lake with 2.3 million for a total of 12.7 million. And in fifth place was Viva La Vida with 2 million for a total of 31.7 million. For the international box office, Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire earned another 33.7 million for a worldwide total of 436.6 million. Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire earned 10.8 million for a worldwide total of 160 million. The First Omen earned 7.7 million for a worldwide total now of 35.4 million. Kung Fu Panda 4 made another 25.9 million for a worldwide total of 452.6 million. And finally, Dune Part 2 is now at 683.9 million worldwide. For news in Hollywood, we start with Paramount, as it looks like there might be a new bidder. The New York Times is reporting that Sony is in talks with Apollo Global Management to join their bid to buy Paramount. Per the Times report, the plan would be to offer an all-cash offer to buy out Paramount stock and take it private. As of now, though, nothing can be done until the exclusive window Paramount has with Skydance ends in about 2 weeks. Now, Paramount investors are overall more happy with this offer being offered as the stock went up afterwards, and it's understandable, as it is for them the best deal. However, this would not be a better deal for Sherry Redstone, so she might still say no to anything Apollo offers, even with Sony jumping in. As for Hollywood in general, they prefer the Skydance deal, as that is more of a production company turning into a full-blown studio with distribution. If Sony and Apollo gets Paramount, well, that's two major film studios that'll be merging. There's going to be a lot of cutting, and no one really wants that. After a few months since Jonathan Majors was found guilty, the judge has issued his sentence. Majors will not be going to jail, but instead will need to complete a domestic violence treatment program as well as therapy. On top of that, there is an order of protection for the victim, so he can never contact her again, and he is also not allowed to own a gun. Paramount is pushing back the animated Avatar movie by a few months. Originally set to come out next October, it will now instead be coming out January 30th, 2026. And in an exclusive from Deadline, they are reporting that Project Hail Mary from Amazon MGM Studios is set to come out March 20th, 2026. This was mentioned a few episodes ago when Ryan Gosling's production company was announced. This is a space film starring him with Phil Lord and Christopher Miller directing. It'll be an adaptation of a novel of the same name written by Andy Weir, who also wrote The Martian. Sadly, there were a few deaths this week. Samantha Davis died at the age of 53. She was married to Warwick Davis, and she helped co-found the Little People UK charity. Lourdes Portillo has died at the age of 80. She was a documentary filmmaker and made documentaries including Missing Young Woman and Las Madres, the mother of the Plaza de Mayo. And in a follow-up, it is reported that Louis Gossett Jr. died due to a lung condition called chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Thoughts and prayers go out to their families during this time, and may they rest in peace. The John Campea Show broke the news that Keanu Reeves will voice Shadow in Sonic the Hedgehog 3. It is set to come out in December. For other casting updates, Neva Howe will play the role of Martha Kent in Superman, with Pruitt Taylor Vince playing Jonathan Kent. Deadline has the exclusive on the next two casting updates. The first is Ariana Greenblatt joined the cast of Now You See Me 3. That film looks to be finally moving forward, with the original cast coming back and will be directed by Ruben Fleischer. And Jodie Turner-Smith, Lily Rabe, and Phoebe Walter-Bridge are set to join A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. The film will be led by Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell. For trailers this week, we got the first one from Warner Brothers for Trap. The thriller stars Josh Hartnett and is directed by M. Night Shyamalan. It comes out in August. And in shocking news, Deadline broke that Quentin Tarantino is not moving forward with The Movie Critic as his final film. Things were coming together for the film with a script written, and seemingly Brad Pitt would have been the lead, and Sony was interested in working with Tarantino on it. As for why he dropped it, Deadline reports that Tarantino simply changed his mind and does not want it to be his final film, so he has now gone back to the drawing board to come up with ideas. Personally, I hope he just kind of drops that 10 films limit that he put on himself. Like, yeah, he could still work and obviously do TV shows after his 10th film and all that, but it does feel like such a limiter for what he can do. We start off with VOD Premium, where Prime Video have renewed Fallout 4's second season. This does not come as a surprise because besides the tax credits given to the film in California, Amazon have already come out and said that it is one of their most watched titles ever on Prime Video. It's clear now they have a new franchise on their hands. Prime Video has ordered a spin-off series of Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader called Are You Smarter Than a Celebrity? This season will have 20 episodes and will be hosted by NFL tight end Travis Kelce. Viaplay is already back in the United States. The streamer that focuses on Scandinavian content recently shut down their service and apps in the United States back in February. This came as part of their restructuring and changing on how they distribute their content internationally. For the United States, them coming back is now as a channel available on Prime Video. If you want to sign up, you can do so via Prime Video channels for $5.99 per month. For Max from A24, The Iron Claw will be available to stream starting May 10th. And for something new to watch on Max, Conan O'Brien Must Go is now available. The travel series has 4 episodes. Apple TV Plus have renewed For All Mankind for a 5th season, as well as ordered a spin-off series called Star City. It'll be made by the creators of the main show and will focus on the Soviet side of the space race. Park Chan-wook is teaming up with Lionsgate Television to adapt his film Old Boy into a English language TV adaptation. This wouldn't be the first English adaptation of the film, as there was an English language film remake that came out back in 2013. Not much else is known about the show adaptation, and it'll probably be a while before we hear what streamer buys it. Disney is working on a new series in Korea based on the adaptation of low-life webtoon. It is expected to be released sometime next year and will be available on Disney Plus internationally and on Hulu in the United States. So basically also on Disney Plus now. As for what is new to watch, there's a new Japanese crime thriller called House of the Owl that has just premiered. As per usual, it is available to watch on Disney Plus internationally and on Hulu in the United States. We have the Nielsen Top 10 for the week of March 18th to the 24th. For the overall Top 10, Three Body Problem came in first place with 1.37 billion minutes watched. Second place was Roadhouse with 1.32 billion minutes. And in third place was Quiet on Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV with 1.2 billion minutes. With Roadhouse being a film, those are some pretty good numbers. For the Streaming Originals Top 10, The Gentleman came in third with 971 million minutes. Shogun came in fifth with 423 million minutes. And Apple's Never Fall came in sixth place with 300 299 million minutes watched. And we finish up the episode with Netflix as they had a bit going on. First, we got their quarterly earnings report where they announced that they gained another 9.33 million subscribers. This puts them at 269.6 million subscribers worldwide. Analysts had expected Netflix to gain around 3.9 million subs. The company also announced that starting next year, they will stop regularly reporting subscriber numbers. They will still do an occasional update, but it will no longer be a regular updated number for quarterly reports. As for why? Well, Netflix makes the case that as they are now building up their ad business along with other revenue streams, other numbers like free cash flow and viewer engagement are more important. Here's part of their letter to shareholders explaining the change. Quote, as we've noted in previous letters, we're focused on revenue and operating margin as our primary financial metrics and engagement, i.e. time spent, as our best proxy for customer satisfaction. In our early days when we had little revenue or profit, membership growth was a strong indicator of our future potential. But now we're generating very substantial profit and free cash flow. We are also developing new revenue streams like advertising and our extra member feature. So memberships are just one component of our growth, end quote. While I'm going to miss the regular updates of subscriber numbers, this does kind of make sense, especially if their ad tier continues to grow. In other Netflix news, they released a trailer for Hitman. This was the film they bought last year at the Toronto International Film Festival, starring Glenn Powell and directed by Richard Linklater. It'll get a limited theatrical release on May 24th and will be on Netflix starting June 7th. As for The Witcher, Netflix announced that it has been renewed for a 5th season, but that will also be its final season. As for season 4, it has now started production, and seasons 4 and 5 will be filmed back to back. I think this is the best move, as it's hard to gauge if people will be interested now that Henry Cavill has left the role, so it's best to plan out a proper end for the show and move on. And we got the Netflix top 10 for the week of April 8th to the 14th. For English TV, Three Body Problem is in first place again with 4.8 million views. Second place was Unlocked, a jail experiment, with 3.9 million views. And in third place was The Gentleman with 3.7 million views. Noticeably, Ripley does not seem to be doing well, coming in at 6th place with 2.5 million views. And the biggest TV show of the week was a Korean show called Parasite Degree with 9.8 million views. And as if for this episode of Box Office Receipts, if you want to follow me on Threads, Instagram, or X, links to those are in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and see you next time.